So I'm in Prague, right? I felt pressure to run and gun the city since I had just one day to explore and shoot whatever I find interesting. I had some plan and a few stops marked on my Google Maps, and one of them was the Pandora shop since I wanted to make a surprise gift to my wife while she was at the work conference. My hotel was about 10 minutes walk from the old town, so I was already immersed in the charming atmosphere of the streets of Prague. The forecast was the usual, non-certain rain that was changing times while the city was under heavy clouds of the midnight storm from the previous night. However, I was prepared with a rain protector in my pocket and determination to shoot in whatever condition I was going to face. But as you can see, the weather was nice, giving me the needed mood to snap everything I find interesting. This is the first episode in which I'm using my newly invented digitalized 8mm camera, which I call Bumka, but I'll make a special episode about that funny equipment. For now, I'll just tell you that the very shaky footage is made with Bumka, which superpower is the super zoom. Also, I would like to mention that this is a travel photography video and I don't present some art frames with perfectly made composition in attempt to make postcard-like pictures. These are the frames that are going to remain as memories from the trip. By the way, this was my first visit to another country with film cameras only. I was shooting the Leicaflex SL with the Kodak Gold 200 ISO and the Leica CL with black and white Kentmere 200 and leftover from a Pan 400, and it was a big mind struggle. I was afraid to travel without digital camera because the films might not be developed correctly, or for some reason I might lose all my shots. Very nerve-wracking, but I was trying to calm myself down, telling myself that everything will be okay. Actually, it was a funny feeling since when I started working as a photographer about a year or so, I was working on slide and negative film until the digital cameras reached 6 megapixels, which is the resolution enough to print A4 cover for a magazine. However, back to Prague. This time I was following the crowd without being sure where exactly I'm going, but I decided to go with the flow and explore the city as it reveals itself without me trying to reach some particular location. I'm sure I've missed a lot of interesting places, but for one day I decided to get kind of lost and be surprised by my findings. Prague is a very beautiful city, clean and not overcrowded, at least at the time I was there. The atmosphere is very European, and honestly, as a person born and raised in a former communist country, I can see the marks of the destructive regime. All the buildings are in pristine conditions with beautiful facades, with preserved architecture that makes you feel the culture and tradition of the country. But of course, this is something you can see from the footage. A little bit about my cameras. For the Leicaflex I decided to use only my 50mm Summicron made in Germany to feel the pure Leica experience. But you can tell that since my scanning process is very unfair to the color film, since I use camera raw converter to edit the scenes and I always mess up the color balance, but actually I don't care, since these pictures are escaped from my job where the perfect color is not even a question, it's a must. Anyway, the Leica experience and the decision to use only the nifty 50 was an exercise in composition, since I was aware that 50mm will be very narrow for architecture. And that's why I was prepared with the 32mm Lomo Minitar for the Leica CL, and when I got into the narrower streets of the old town, I've mounted it on the camera, replacing the 40mm Voigtlander. That's why you are seeing weirdly cut people or vehicles at the borders of my frames, since I'm guessing the composition using the whole rangefinder of the CL, which is thankfully close to 32mm, but there's a parallax and I catch more at the bottom of the frame than what I'm seeing in the rangefinder, and when I'm making a vertical shot I'm catching a little bit more on the left or a little bit more on the right, depending on how I rotate the camera during the shot. But for now I'm not considering a 35mm lens or another Leica body. I'll just have to train my brain to be more cautious or I will just start to cut my frames, which I still can't accept, believing that I'll figure it out. Which is kind of hard since I'm using viewfinder in my daily work and it's hard to escape from this unconscious framing habit. As I've mentioned, that's not so important since I'm having fun with these trip shots and the whole experience. At the end, I would like to share with you that the Leica CL is a very comfortable travel camera with a kind of funky experience with the strap lugs, but this is something that I got used with very naturally and quickly. I want to mention that I've never experienced the Leica M body and I cannot compare, but the CL brings a good experience mixing good enough quality, cheap enough not to bother to bang it around while traveling. This camera is also my EDC, so it's pretty much a muscle memory to shoot with it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be very happy if you subscribe so that I can share my future content with you.